time last year, we presented at the Resources Roundup Conference, Explorers Conference, for the first time. And that presentation was focused on how Millennium had transitioned through a series of really tough years and come out through the other side and corrected a series of corporate, operational and financial challenges. But more importantly, we unveiled a very ambitious strategy on how we were looking to make that next step change for our business and increase our gold production profile, but more importantly, our mine life and our reserves. So I'm really pleased to be back here 12 months later to present the successes that we've had and the real step change that we see coming, not only what we've delivered so far back end of last year, but what we see coming through the first half of this year. If we look at the brief corporate overview, without dwelling on the past, our team at Millennium has resurrected some significant value for our shareholders. A little over 2 years ago, our market capitalisation was only $5 million, and we've grown that now up to 175. We remain unencumbered by debt. We retired all of our debt in June 2016, and that's allowed us to bring all of our free cash flow and invest it back into the business. So a key takeaway from what Ken said during his acceptance speech earlier is that the foundation of success for any mining company is at the end of the drill bit, and we've made a massive investment through the course of last year, not just in exploration but also in our infrastructure. And at the same time, we've maintained a very strong balance sheet, so we're sort of set up very well to execute on our growth plans. Through last year, we also strengthened our board. As our strategy changes, it's important that we bring in the right skill sets. So we welcomed Peter Lester to the board, a very experienced mine engineer, and at the executive level, we brought Dean Will on in June 2017, and Dean joined us after a 4-year stint with Anglo Global. And his key focus for us is to bring our first underground into operation, but also to optimise all of our operations, and he's been incredibly successful at leading that charge. And also Ray Parry joined us last quarter last year, and Ray was previously with Hang King and was the lead on the divestment of the Southern Cross asset to Minjar for $300 million, and prior to that, Ray was CFO for Northern Star, so a really strong pedigree, and we're building a really strong team to help us execute on our growth plans. For those of you who aren't that familiar with Millennium, our key asset is the Nullagine Gold Project in the Pilbara region of WA. Since late 2012, we've already produced over 400,000 ounces of gold. As I sort of keep coming back to, we are debt-free and generating strong free cash flow, which we're using to execute our growth strategy. Our focus in the last 12 months has been changing what we mine and how we mine. So we've been limited to mining multiple satellite pits over the last few years, and that's really returned really well to us. But for us, for sustainability, we understand that we have to change what we mine and how we mine, and that plan's coming together really well, and we'll talk through that in the preso. We've got a large mineral resource inventory, over 1.3 million ounces, and the key to our growth and to deliver on that increased mine life and production profile is unlocking processing optionality for that full resource base, and we've had some real wins on that front also. And of course, exploration is at the heart of everything that we do. If we look at the key pillars of our growth strategy right now, Nullagine operations, it's only four years old. It's running really well. Replacement cost over $100 million. So it's really key to how we generate and how we self-sustain our business. So we've invested heavily back into that in the last 12 months, and it sits as the only operating asset in that region where we are, so it also provides a good strategic opportunity for regional consolidation. The commitment to exploration for a company of our size, I think, is second to none. We spent over $21 million last year in the ground, on top of another $9 million of investment into our infrastructure at Nullagine. And that's really delivering some significant windfalls for the business and our shareholders. And underpinning that exploration focus is the 2 expansion studies we have. So we've now delivered a processing option of processing our fresh ore resource that complements our existing CIL plant. And also we've been very successful in bringing our very first underground mine, which will commence at the end of this quarter. So I've got a very short video, around 4 minutes, that will probably go through a lot of these key components, and I will come back to you after this kicks off.
Strong production and cash flow today, and a clear pathway to delivering substantial increases in production and mine life in the future. These are the hallmarks of Australian gold producer Millennium Minerals, as it unlocks the significant value of its flagship Nullagine Gold Project in Western Australia. Located approximately 1,300 kilometres northeast of the state capital, Perth, Millennium's 100% owned Nullagine Gold Project is located in the heart of the world-class Pilbara Mineral District, home to some of Australia's largest mining operations. The project is well serviced by local infrastructure, located 185 kilometres north of the key regional centre of Newman. Gold production at Nullagine is sourced from 6 mining centres located along a 40-kilometre strike length. Collectively, these tenements cover 264 square kilometres of the highly prospective and underexplored Mosquito Creek Gold Belt and host a total resource base comprising 1.3 million ounces of gold. Recent geological modelling undertaken across the Nullagine Gold Project area has defined clear structural trends for gold mineralisation within the Mosquito Creek Gold Belt, providing a strong blueprint for exploration targeting. Project infrastructure at Nullagine includes the Golden Eagle carbon-in-leach ore treatment plant, which has current throughput of 2 million tonnes per annum. The feasibility study is currently underway to expand this processing plant to include a flotation circuit, which would enable Millennium to process the Nullagine Gold Project's significant sulphide or fresh ore resource base, which now totals over 850,000 ounces of gold. Metallurgical test work conducted on this fresh ore has indicated recoveries of up to 90% can be achieved using an integrated flotation and carbon-in-leach circuit. Traditionally, ore production at Nullagine has been sourced from a series of small, shallow open pits, delivering average gold production of approximately 80,000 ounces per annum. However, over the past 12 months, Millennium has switched its focus to mining larger-scale, longer-life deposits in an effort to establish more sustainable, lower-cost ore sources. The company's aim is to establish a 5-year mine life at Nullagine with average annual gold production of 100,000 ounces per annum. Millennium's ability to realise this growth objective is underpinned by an intensive project-wide exploration campaign targeting the extensive organic growth opportunities within the Nullagine Gold Project area. In 2017, the company committed $22 million for exploration across the Nullagine Gold Project area, with 6 drill rigs operating at site. One of the most exciting growth opportunities is the potential for new discoveries at depth. Extensive fresh ore mineralisation is known to exist below all existing resource areas, but very little deep exploration has ever been conducted. Of the 30 deep targets identified at Nullagine, only 4 have been tested to date, all delivering highly encouraging results. At Bartons, deeper drilling has identified an extensive zone of high-grade fresh ore, some of which is now being mined via a cutback to the Bartons pit, with the remainder being assessed as a potential underground mining operation. A fast-tracked feasibility study is now underway, aimed at commencing underground development at Bartons in the first quarter of 2018. In addition to the rapidly expanding fresh ore resource inventory at Nullagine, which now exceeds 850,000 ounces of gold, oxide exploration also remains a key focus. Recent drilling has delivered thick, high-grade intersections across multiple prospects, including Shearers North, Yates, and AU 81 West. These prospects span the full length of the Nullagine mineralised corridor from the southwest to the northeast, demonstrating the entire region's exceptional growth potential. Through a combination of geological, geophysical and geochemical analysis, Millennium has built a detailed understanding of the stratigraphic controls on gold mineralisation across the Nullagine project area. Beyond Nullagine, Millennium owns the only gold processing plant in the region, offering outstanding potential for toll treatment and regional consolidation opportunities. Underpinned by strong and consistent cash flows, Millennium's strategy to deliver a step-change increase in production and mine life at Nullagine is already well underway. Building on the strong foundations at the Nullagine Gold Project, the company has a multi-pronged growth strategy driven by a commitment to exploration, both for open pit and deeper fresh ore across its tenement portfolio. With a clear focus and a well-defined vision for its future, Millennium is advancing rapidly towards its goal of becoming a substantial Australian gold producer with a bright future and exciting growth outlook.
So because of the short time frame, it's what we found is it's easier to show you in a 4-minute video what it would take me 20 minutes to explain. So I hope that sort of gives a good background to what we're trying to achieve. So if we look at where we're looking to execute this plan, we operate out of 5 mining centres, as you can see up there. We currently have 4 drill rigs on site, and we'll slowly build that up to 6 rigs by the second quarter this year. Our exploration strategy is focused on 2 fronts. One is to exploit the deeper sulphide ores, and we started that strategy last year, and we've had some huge successes on that front. And what we see is that the future of this belt is going to be exploited from the higher grade underground opportunity as well as larger open pits. And of course, the oxide exploration continues as the base load for the plant. Now, the key difference from that video that we put together at the end of last year is that we've already sort of done a 180 on our plans to build a flotation circuit. So through the course of last year, we went through a scoping study and a pre-feas, looking to see how we could unlock that large inventory of sulphide resource and bring that into the production profile. And by the end of last year, we got through a pre-feasibility with a solution that sort of showed us that a flotation, off-the-shelf flotation solution would deliver a great result. We could achieve 90% recoveries. We would generate a highly marketable precious metal concentrate. We'd engage with marketers through the Asian markets. We understood the capital cost, the operating cost, and we thought it was a really big breakthrough. And I think that the key lesson for us that we've learned out of this is that by bringing the right people in at the right time, you end up with a much better result. So we brought in Ausenco and also MineScope to complete to take the pre-feas through to bankable feasibility. And part of that, for them, the scope was to do a trade-off study to see whether we could reduce that OPEX and CAPEX of that flotation solution. And what they came up with really turned our world on its head. It's one of the most important things that's happened to us as a business. They put forward an alternate solution that had a vastly reduced capital cost, but more importantly, it had a drastically reduced operating cost. And so moving away from creating a concentrate, the solution they put forward to us now is to reverse engineer the process and bring in effectively a heavy media separation technique at the back end of our processing plant rather than beefing up the front end. Given time constraints, we can if you want to know more about this, we can discuss this at the booth. But the key takeaways for this is that it's a far simpler option. It delivers a far superior cash flow outcome to the flotation solution that we thought we were going to go down at the end of last year. The feasibility on this option will be completed by the end of this quarter, and what we would expect to see is that we'll put our resource and reserve statement out in the next week, but by the middle of the year, that visibility on a 5-year mine life will become real, and we can see that now through the back of the envelope conversions of our existing resource base using those new cost inputs. And as per the video, what we've seen at Nullagine is a series of really breakthroughs with regards to fast forwarding, bringing high grade material through the processing plant. And one of those is Bartons. And if you have a look at these results that we received through the first half of last year, it gave us great encouragement to maintain the rage on drilling underneath a lot of these deposits that had only ever seen drilling down to around 50 to 80 metres. On the back of those results, we realised that we could do a significant cutback to Bartons. That Bartons cutback is just about to be completed. And as part of the infill program, we delivered a maiden resource at Bartons, an underground resource, albeit around 100,000 ounces at just under 5 grams. We were able to fast track the reserve and the feasibility, and what we've seen now is a first start underground that will commence at the back end of this quarter. It's a modest start to our underground strategy, but what we expect to see here is the ability to drill this out and see strike and depth extents, and we'll do that from underground where it's far more economic to do so. We also believe that we've already drilled enough holes to know that it extends at least 500 metres below where we've drilled now. We've got a series of other open underground opportunities that we've already fast-tracked, and again, as with the new processing solution for sulphide ores and these new cost inputs, a lot of these are going to be re-looked at now as primarily large open pits first before we move into the underground phase. And again, if you see some of these recent results, we feel very encouraged that bringing in higher grade material both from underground and open cut is going to be very realistic this year. I'll move through some of the oxide results really quickly, but the Redbeard discovery is one of 12 discoveries we made last year, and we hold this up as an example of how quick we can move up at Nullagine. We identified this prospect in October last year through a series of mapping and rock chipping exercises. There'd never been a drill hole out here before November last year. And in a little over 2 months, we've already gone from having no drill holes to a maiden resource of over 20,000 ounces. Redbeard will come into our production profile during the September quarter, and we're just going through our mining approvals now. But again, it's the investment in infrastructure that's allowed us to move so quickly on these opportunities. So key takeaways, our consistent production and cash flows is giving us that option of investing heavily back in organic growth, and that's delivering to us many times over. Those expansion studies on the processing solution will be complete this quarter. Our first underground starts again at the end of this quarter, and our ongoing exploration program will continue. We'll maintain the rage on that front. And I guess, as per last year, we unveiled an aggressive strategy to unlock the full value of Nullagine, and we've made significant headway, and that news flow will continue through the next 3 to 6 months. Any more information, please come to the booth. Thanks.